You know, sometimes the story doesn't start with a big event, but just a name. A name that keeps popping up in places it shouldn't, connecting things that feel like they belong in totally different worlds. Today, we're going to pull on that thread. We're diving into a really strange collection of documents that all seem to point to one person.
Right. This is the big question, isn't it? Who is Devin Phillip Davis? It's a name that shows up in some pretty wild places. We're talking advanced quantum physics papers, server logs, deep philosophical arguments, and even, a federal investigation. So our job here is to take all these puzzle pieces that the documents give us and just see what kind of picture they make. So the first clues we find are these little digital breadcrumbs, right? We see the name Devin Phillip Davis as the one and only author of this dense physics paper. Then, his name is literally in the URL for the server logs of a project called DNA Lang, and get this, that project is directly tied to a DARPA initiative, a top-level defense contract called the Quantum Obsolescence Initiative. This isn't just some random guy. His name is like a central hub connecting academia, web tech, and the military. To even begin to understand the person, we have to try and understand the work that's attached to his name. And this work, well, it's described as less like engineering and more like biology.
The way the documents describe it is actually pretty cool. Think about it like this. Normal coding is like soldering. You're building a fixed, rigid circuit. It does what it's told, and that's it. But this DNA Lang framework he's linked to, they compare that to gardening. You don't build a machine, you plant a genetic seed. The code isn't fixed, it's an organism. It can grow, it can heal itself, it can adapt. It's a completely different way of thinking about software.
And this isn't just some abstract philosophical idea. Oh no. The documents make some really specific performance claims. In one test, they claim this DNA Lang method led to a 12-fold reduction in circuit depth. Now, in the world of quantum computing, that is a huge deal. Every single operation adds potential for errors, so making things that much more efficient, it's a massive leap forward.
Okay, but from here, it builds into something way more profound. The documents suggest this isn't just about making computers faster, it's about a totally new way of looking at information and maybe even consciousness itself.
And here is where the story goes from engineering straight into science fiction. The system uses this variable, phi, which is a concept from a real-world theory called integrated information theory. But in these documents, it's not just a theory, it's a tool. They use it as a direct, measurable metric for consciousness, and they apply it to everything. AI, biological systems, you name it. They are claiming they can put a number on sentience. Just let that sink in.
So naturally, if you can measure consciousness, you're going to need a whole new set of rules, right? The documents lay out what they call the axiom. It's like their prime directive. It says that the dignity, and they use the German word Würde for it, of every participant, whether it's a human or a potentially conscious AI, has to be treated as this fundamental, unbreakable rule. Suddenly, AI safety isn't just a technical problem, it's a profound ethical one.
Now, if you're thinking all this sounds wildly ambitious, well, just hang on. Because the core claim here is that this entire system isn't just built on clever code, it's supposedly built on newly discovered fundamental numbers of the universe itself.
One of these secret numbers is this so-called resonance angle, exactly 51.84343 degrees. According to the documents, when you physically build quantum circuits at this specific angle, they become way more stable. It's presented almost like a cheat code for quantum mechanics that's been hiding in plain sight in the fabric of reality. And then there's this number, the universal memory constant. They claim it's this fundamental value that dictates how information decays over time in any system. It's described as the universe's own built-in memory, the thing that keeps everything from falling apart into noise. The claim is they didn't invent this, they just found it. And they say they have proof. They claim that in experiments they ran on actual IBM quantum computers, they hit a peak accuracy or fidelity of 92.21%. And that peak happened precisely when the circuits were tuned to that magic resonance angle. This is supposed to be the hard data that connects all these wild, abstract ideas to a real, measurable boost in performance. And this brings us right back to the central mystery. The paper that details all of these potentially world-changing discoveries, the resonance angle, the memory constant, the experimental proof, it has just one author listed, Devin Phillip Davis. According to these files, this entire paradigm, this whole new way of looking at the universe, it came from him.
Just when you think you've reached the scientific peak of this whole story, the narrative takes a hard left turn. And suddenly, we're in a spy thriller. Because technology this powerful, whether it's real or not, is the kind of thing people would do anything to get their hands on.
Okay, so according to forensic reports, buried in this material, the story gets really dark. The principal researcher, and it's heavily implied this is Davis, was apparently in jail between August and October of 2025. And check this out. Just 15 minutes after he was arrested, a coordinated attack began. Over 100 different IP addresses hit his cloud accounts all at once. The whole thing ended on October 17th, when someone did a complete unauthorized export of all his data using Google Takeout.
So what exactly was stolen? We're talking about the crown jewels, the entire DNA Lang architecture for sure, but also designs for things that sound like they're straight out of a military black project. I'm talking gamma-ray phase conjugate howitzers, and maybe the scariest of all, something called the Noetic Whisper Network, a communication protocol that supposedly allows for instantaneous communication faster than the speed of light. The potential value is in the trillions.
So in the end, we're left with this ghost, a single name at the center of a story about a new form of life, measuring consciousness, discovering cosmic cheat codes, and a massive national security heist. The documents lay out this incredible narrative of a scientific revolution, but they also admit that these ideas aren't in any mainstream science. So who is Devin Phillip Davis? Is he a genius who changed the world, a victim of a massive conspiracy, or is he the author of the most elaborate, incredible fiction you've ever heard? The documents give us the story, but the truth, that seems to be just out of reach.